And hello everyone, this is Tom Geisler, and this is Autism Inside Out. I was online, as I live online. The news would be that I was offline today. But I was on a Facebook group, and somebody had brought up a question about friendship. Well, I have been, for the last week or more, working on a presentation. And this presentation talks about the revelation of living like you're neurotypical and then finding out you're autistic. And what was, I think, a very, very important thing to emphasize to everyone, but for the presentation to the neurotypical community, is that me and so many other people I've talked to who are autistic, late diagnosed, you know that there's something different, but you tend to see things as normal, and you tend to compare what you call normal with what everyone else calls normal. And that's where I think a huge disconnect comes on many levels. And I think it is where a lot of the prejudice comes about autism, because people are then using, this gets complicated. That's why it's been hard to write up. My premise is this, and that is what we are neurologically sets everything. It sets everything about us. We are basically a muscle with neurology in bones. And but the way we think, what we need, our personality, how we remember things, how we recall, all these things, how we feel, how we interpret what we feel, that's all neurology. And when I have my normal, what I call my normal, it is all based on my neurological experience. And the same thing is true with people who are neurotypical. And what we start doing is we start saying, well, I got a normal too. This will be neurotypical person, and this will be autistic person. And so this person, neurotypical, says, yeah, okay, I see this, and yeah, I see that too. And then they look at each other and they go, why are you stimming? And it's like, well, this is what I do. And there's that disconnect. Like, they're saying, I don't stim. I need to stim. And what the disconnect is that their perception of normal is all based on what they need neurologically. Our perception of normal is what we need neurologically. And so that's where the disconnect comes from. And what this, so that's basically what my presentation is going to be on. Now, the question that came up about friendship brought out another factor of all this, or another part of all this, and that is that not only have we been comparing our autistic normal with the neurotypical normal, but we have ingrained their needs, what they call, and friendship was the example. We feel guilty if we have to limit our time that we socialize, if we just assume, if we go, okay, that person's my friend, cool, we contact each other when we need to. Neurotypical is if you don't contact them, means you don't like me, or it means something. And so here we are trying to, there's how many questions I've seen on Quora, I've seen it on different forums, and that is, gosh, this whole friendship thing, how do you do it? And it always seems to be that we are putting ourselves as our autistic normal, we're trying to still fit it inside the neurotypical normal. If that makes sense. So that, and my whole point of this video is that I think we've been conditioned, first of all. I mean, what a social pressure, what a pressure period, life pressure it is to conform to the majority. And I see a lot of struggling because, it's like, trying to, I'm trying to think of an example of going against your neurology. I would use the fish out of water, but that's kind of an environmental, biological thing. But, it's maybe I use this comparison, and I haven't thought it through enough to know whether there's a lot of, it's a valid comparison, but if you think of males and females, and, little girls would, I heard a guy on the radio was talking about, said, you give a doll to a little girl and she dresses it up and she makes tea parties and she has socialization stuff, and you give a you give a doll to a guy and he runs it through the mud and and he beats it up and he tears it apart. It's like neurologically the same object is looked at in two different ways. And well, this is what's going on between neurodiverse and neurotypical. We both handed a doll, but we do different things with it. We're just set to do different things. And so that's all the whole point of this is. It was that observation, is that, wow, when people say, well, how is it I make friends? This is what I think is so important about our community getting together and socializing more, because in a sense we're sort of stuck. We're like, okay, I'm not very good at socializing, and it doesn't take much to beat you down to where you're going, I'm not going to do that anymore, or I'm no good at this, or whatever. And I think we need to rethink it and go, okay, wait. That problem is incompatible neurologies, different normals, okay? And so that if we start getting the mindset as a community, hey, there's all these barriers with the neurotypicals, they're gone. I can communicate. I can feel comfortable. I can stim. I can say, "Oh, gotta go," or I can have start having a meltdown, and people are like, "Okay, what do you need?" And not like, Again, it's back to the neurology thing. A person that's neurotypical looks at things and goes, wow, "What the hell are you doing?" Because there's just nothing as a point of reference. And it goes deeper than just experience. It goes into a neurological to what you can feel. I was in Costco a million times since this time I'm referring to, but I was just looking around. I was just sitting at the food court thing, and I was just watching people, and I saw this little girl flopping, and it was just obvious, absolutely obvious. And I'm thinking, I wonder if her parents know. But it was just like you could see it. And there's a connection there. That's my whole point. We're all connected. We've got a basis of connection with each other in an autistic community that we will not have. We can develop a connection, but it's not the same. It's like women, boys and girls, or men and women can be friends, but girlfriends and girlfriends are different than girlfriends and guy friends, and vice versa. And so that's my whole point, is that I would hope people would think about this. Think about the importance of community. Think about the conditioning that we've been under to think in neurotypical terms, like, I got to be this, I got to do that. And we're not questioning things deep enough. We're not questioning going, wait a second. That's the way they do it. It's not the way we do it, or I do it. And I just think it would free us up a lot more. Also, if we can get together as the community, eventually, if we're going to make a society, or if we're going to make our place in society where we can be ourselves, we're going to have to know what we need for work, what we need in public spaces, what we need in education. We're going to have to supply those answers. Otherwise, the researchers in the neurotypical world will be going, well, you don't make eye contact, so therefore, you know what I mean? And they're going to go through it. It's like, wait, okay, thank you. We'll get this figured out. And that's the people who are going to have to figure it out is us, because we're the one feeling it, we're the one living it. I don't know if that made any sense. But that's just, I think, an important topic that we all need to keep going, because this is how things are going to get better for us. This is how we're going to stop a lot of the isolation, if people don't want to be isolated. I mean, if they're really, if they, I think to some degree we need some degree of social contact, supportive, connective contact. And I think a lot of people have given up. I did for, I don't know, 15, 20 years. Wow. Not that I didn't ever go out and see people. And well, I guess in a sense, I'm still doing it today. I don't have that interest in getting out there and meeting all these people, because there is just a disconnect there that it just is a turn off to me. It's like, I don't want to go through the motions again. Oh, hi, yeah, George, how's the cow? Or whatever, the wife. Was really not trying to say anything there, but oh, sorry, George. Sorry, George. That was your wife. I thought that was your cow. No. Oh, edit time. But anyway, so that's my point in all this, and that I just really do have my community at heart, and I think we are at a time. We are at a time, if we want to be at a time of great change, all we have to do is do it, because we have the capability. We've got the capability. So anyway, this is Tom. This is Autism Inside Out. And hopefully that was something to think about. Okay, thank you all. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.